But yeah, so Reese, what are some influential comics starting out?
Yeah, too. When I started out, my two were Kevin Hart and Lewis Black.
Lewis Black.
Yeah.
I love Lewis Black. I always love his rants. You know, you got to get angry. I have a lot of anger inside me. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you have a lot of anger inside you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Solid.
Doesn't
Solid.
everyone?
I love it. So that's a big range. I mean, I don't think of Kevin Hart and Lewis Black in the same. I mean, you know, they just kind of do different. I mean, Kevin Hart doesn't get too political. You know what I mean? That's you know.
Right. No, he doesn't. That's why, and they're so different. That's why they're big. You know, big
Big comics. That's why they get big in the first place. They have their own aesthetic, their own style, all that stuff. So Matt, how about you?
They make it work.
They make it work.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. So Matt, how about you? What are some big stand-ups for you? Influentials. I know it's a hard one.
Yeah, I mean, I always liked stand-up, but I liked sketch comedy more when I was a kid. So, I mean, my biggest influence was probably Mr. Show.
I love Mr.
And that kind of stuff. So, I mean, Bob and David both do stand-up, the two guys that did the show. David used to do it more often. Bob would just do it occasionally, but I liked Bob. He's funny, but so those are the big ones.
Well, I mean, you look at Bob Odenkirk and you realize how sort of influential he is, and how much like infrastructure he built within the comedy community. You know what I mean? And that's an important thing. So that's really cool. That's cool. That's some awesome comics. So how about you, Dan? What are some stand-up comics you enjoyed?
I think the first would be like probably Mitch Hedberg before I even was able to choose for myself what kind of stuff. When I was still a little bit younger, my dad listening to stuff that would spill over, and I hear that, and then. When I actually started stretching out, learning my own things, kind of Maria Bamford, and that just rocked my fucking world, that everything. And then once we opened up the venue, actually, Jed's, there was actually another one of the comics who was a good friend of mine, actually, was also a good inspiration. Mm-hmm. So you start to meet these people, and then the people who you meet and become heroes to you. And it was nice. It's good when people asked me, like last year, who's your favorite comedian? I would be able to say one of my friends' names and sincerely mean it.
Yeah. No, I think that's the thing for me with music has always been is, when I was coming up in the DIY world, people always ask me what bands you listen to. And like I definitely listen to some mainstream bands, but for the most part I'm sitting there listening to my friends and their music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's great. Support the community that supports you, right? So that's awesome.